millions of jobs in the construction industry. Vote change. Vote APC. Vote Buhari Osinbajo.
Thank you so much for your patience. Now, just before we proceed, if you do have your cell phones, please kindly pull it off so that there will be no interruptions. Please, you can put your cell phones off so that we can have better communication. Also, we have arranged for people to write their questions. So if you do have a question, you can choose to write the question, and we do have a table at the back for you to write a question. We have pen and paper for you to write your question ahead, and it will get to us, and the questions will be asked. Now we want to proceed along to introduce and bring formally the man of the moment. And I want to say this, that Nigerians in diaspora have had a relationship with Professor Osinbajo before now. I remember in December 2012, the Nigerian Lawyers Association in New York honored him and awarded him their Justice and Law Award in December 2012. But the important thing about that was, when he was giving his speech to receive the award, one of the things he said is that we often hear that one tree cannot make a forest. But he said that one person can make a change. He also said that a time is coming very soon that there will be a significant change in the life of a nation. He said that in December 2012. I don't know whether he was prophesying, because what he has said seems to be coming to play. It seems that the fact that God is going to make some people to take the reins of power to make significant change, people of integrity, I think is about to happen. I'm talking about him. I've listened to him preach. I've listened to him address the press. And I've listened to him campaign. One thing that is unmistakable about Professor Osinbajo is that he has passion and he has integrity. Talking about corruption, when he was the Attorney General of the Lagos State for 8 years, from 1999 to 2007, he conducted a survey about the Lagos State Judiciary. He spoke to some lawyers, and the result was that there was 80% corruption in the Lagos State Judiciary. That was in 1999. They spoke to lawyers that go to court. They said that, oh, look, there's about 80% corruption in the Lagos State Judiciary. What did he do? He started to review the situation. What are the causes? They found out that some of the judges, when they retire, they end up living in rented homes. They found out that there was one particular judge who, after retirement, was actually living in a boys' quarters in Lagos. So they changed the working conditions of the judges. For instance, they said that now if you become a judge, you're going to get a permanent housing. I'm telling you how he fought corruption. And so they put that in place. They reviewed their salaries. And after putting all of those in place, he now started to say, look, if a judge is found wanting, we will take it to court. And they started to prosecute judges. They were prosecuting judges who were found wanting. Ladies and gentlemen, by the time we got to 2007, Professor Osinbajo, as the Attorney General of Lagos State, conducted another survey to find out what is the level of corruption in Lagos State after 8 years of his intervention. You'll be surprised by the answer. 0. Oh, wow. That is how you deal with corruption. And on that note, I want to bring him up. Let us make Professor Oluyemi Oluneke Osinbajo welcome to the podium tonight.
Mommy, I show up. Vice President Walembu.
Thank you very much. Please sit. After a wonderful introduction like that, I had better make some sense today. I'd like to thank you all for making our time to come to this town hall meeting. As the program says, I'll be making a few preliminary comments and thereafter I'll be taking questions. I would like to say that many of us who are Nigerians have no question at all that our country needs to change. And I think that that is evident from everything we've seen and from all we are hearing and from what we've heard in the past. One of the critical things that I want us to note about our country is that it is a country, as you know, that is blessed with huge resources. There is no question at all in terms of human resources, in terms of natural resources. Nigeria is blessed. But somehow or the other, especially in the last 15, 16 years, we've had governments that simply have made it impossible for the country to make good. And in the last 6 years especially, we've had possibly the worst possible form of governance in Nigeria. Nigeria has 110 million extremely poor people. That's going by any of the statistics. And on all of the human development indices, we are at the extreme lowest of the bars. Education, for example, many of us know what Nigeria used to be like 20, 30 years ago. But today, 10.5 million children at least are out of school. 35 million Nigerians cannot read and write at all. And of course, the educational system has been continually degraded from preschool all the way up to tertiary education has been completely degraded. In terms of healthcare, we know, of course, that healthcare is possibly in its worst state ever. 55,000 women die every year from maternal-related ailments alone. That's roughly about 300 a day. Just maternal-related ailments alone. 110,000 children die of diarrheal diseases related to diarrhea. 110,000 every day. Infant mortality, we are top 3 in infant mortality. That's death of children between the ages of 0 and 5. It is all of the figures are just so depressing and so sad. Of course, we all know about malaria. Death by malaria, death and disability by polio. A lot of that, a lot of what we see is largely on account of one single phenomenon, and that is corruption. That is corruption. Jobs also. 80% of Nigerian graduates are out of work. 80% of Nigerian graduates are out of work. And of course, things just continue to get worse because you have almost 4.5 million people every year coming out there, graduating from different institutions, looking for a place to work. And of course, things are not improving. If you notice, and I'm sure many who send money home, many Nigerians here who send money home, already know that you're probably getting more naira for the dollar, but probably buying less because of the devaluation of the naira. And why has the naira been devalued? Why has the naira been devalued? What are the reasons why our external reserves have fallen? If you just look at the trajectory of what has happened to us from when in about 2007, 2008, oil prices were their highest at 147. And then 2008, oil prices dropped to $38 a barrel. But at $38 a barrel, we still had $62 billion US dollars in external reserves or savings of one kind or the other. Now, from 2011 to 2014, Nigeria had the highest oil prices in its history, and of course in the history of the oil industry in the world, between $100 and $115 a barrel. But external reserves fell to $32 a barrel. So when oil was selling at $38 a barrel, external reserves stood at about 62 billion. But from 2011 to 2014, where oil was selling for $100 to $115 a barrel, external reserves actually dropped. So if you looked at the graph, it dropped to $32 billion. So if you look at the graph, you suddenly find that external reserves and oil prices, high oil prices and external reserves have always matched. But between 2011 and 2014, you see the high oil prices, but external reserves dropping. So there's a huge hole. Many Nigerians have asked the question, so what happened to the external reserves? Why is it that so much money appears to have disappeared? Why is it that despite high oil prices, where other countries were making significant savings, Saudi Arabia, for instance, saved $750 billion during the high oil prices. Most other countries managed to make a saving. How come we didn't manage to make a saving and the money seems to have simply disappeared? And that's why questions have been asked about missing funds in Nigeria. Not all they started at 20 billion, some say it's 12 billion, some say it's $10 billion. But however much that money may be, there is no excuse at all for a country of 110 million people for so many US dollars to be missing from external reserves. Besides, 7 billion petroleum subsidy, kerosene subsidies cap, 7 billion unexplained. And that's $7 billion. At some point, we were told the excess crude account, $1 billion had disappeared. Besides, Nigeria is possibly the only oil-producing country where oil theft is taking place at the rate that ours is taking place. We have 400,000 barrels of oil missing every day, stolen every single day. Ghana, with all of its protestations to being an oil-producing country, produces 120,000 barrels of oil. We have 400,000 barrels stolen every single day. There's no wonder at all that the country is as poor as it is today. It's no wonder at all that there are no jobs. No wonder at all that healthcare is in the state that it is. Education is in the state that it is. And that is the reason why our country needs change. We need change because, one, we must stop the corruption. If we can't stop corruption, as General Buhari has said, if we don't kill corruption, corruption will kill us as a nation. And that's evident from what is going on. So many people ask the question, how are we going to fund some of the programs that you've seen up here? And we've responded by saying, aside from some of the things you'll be hearing in the question and answer, the first thing is to stop corruption. The way that Nigeria's money is stolen on a daily basis simply doesn't make sense. No country can survive with the rate of theft that is going on in Nigeria. So stopping that is an absolute essential, is the first order of business. Stopping corruption and then ensuring that we're able to account for the resources of the country and that those who are corrupt are held to account and that they are prevented from doing so in the future. A critical issue, of course, in stopping corruption is exemplifying the kind of conduct that we expect others to portray. And that is why the leadership itself must represent a firm stand against corruption. Secondly, there must be consequence for corruption. At the moment, despite all of what I have said, about corruption in Nigeria, the petroleum subsidies camp, all of these have been investigated by the National Assembly. Reports are there, the actual culprits mentioned, names have been mentioned, but absolutely nothing is being done. There's no consequence. If that impunity continues, then anyone can steal public funds, and that will be the end of it. So we think that there must be consequence for corruption. And if there's consequence for corruption,